Welcome to the stage, your next comic, Rodney B. You guys have seen my act before, haven't you? I mean, those of you leaving. You got to go to the bathroom like a group of 8? Wow. And the bathroom is that way and they all turn that way. Yeah, just let us out without asking us any questions, please. Well, I'm glad you stayed. I got to apologize first off for the way I'm dressed. I'm actually a member of the Masons, and we get together once a month to plot the takeover of the world. Yeah. You know, the secret decoder rings are really cool, but mostly I just go because they have snacks. Well, as Doug said, my name is Rodney B, and the first thing you should know about me is I have 13 kids. That part's not a joke. Everybody laughs at that part. Anybody got kids? You guys got kids? Very nice. And people ask me, well, why do you have 13 kids? I said, well, it's all we could fit in the van. But we had some move out. We got some spots. Now, 10 of my kids are adopted. And I'm quick to tell people that, because I don't want them to get the wrong idea. I mean, I live in Utah. I've got 13 children from 6 different women. And if you've got adopted kids, any of you by chance have adopted kids? No, because if you've got adopted kids, some of those awkward childhood questions have different answers. For example, my son came up. Daddy, where do babies come from? Louisiana. Now, my kids actually were born in 5 different countries. And I was thinking about getting them t-shirts. You know, made in China, made in Haiti, or made in the US. That one costs more, is higher maintenance, and breaks down more often. Daddy, why won't you go out with me? And if your children have a different skin color than you do, that whole I got your nose game really loses its effectiveness. I got your nose, and I bleached it. And if you have a big family, some things just happen differently. They're just some what you might call indicators of a large family. For example, if you've ever had food delivered to your house on a pallet, probably an indication you got a big family. If you have to check your girlfriend against Ancestry.com, make sure you're not dating a relative, yeah, it's a pretty good sign it's a large family. If they wore name tags at your wedding, again, big families. And finally, if you've ever been called to the principal's office because you have to discuss a problem with your 5th grader, and you have to ask, which one? Again, indication you got a big family. Recently, I started giving my kids an allowance because, you know, I want to prepare them for jobs and real life and stuff, so I give my girls 20% less than I give my boys. Whoa. The guys always laugh, and the girls always just stare daggers at me. I took my family on vacation this summer. Yeah, I think it was a fairly traditional family vacation. You know, 6 days in the Pacific Northwest, 1 day in Moab. I didn't say it was your family's tradition, but my friends at work said, so did you get all those kids in the van? I mean, to go on vacation? I said, well, we left with 9 and we came back with 8. All I'm going to say is that when Dad tells you it's a 5-minute bathroom stop, it's a 5-minute bathroom stop. We were in Washington for my mom's wedding. My dad passed away a couple of years ago and my mom decided to get remarried. And she is 65 and her fiance is 70. It's really weird having your mom have a boyfriend. At least it was for my brothers and me. My younger brother lives in the same town, and he found himself driving past her house at night to see what time she got home from her dates. And he found it, he was sitting down and he had to have that talk with her. How old are your kids?
7, 6, 5, 5, and 2 and 1 away.
Oh, congratulations. Very nice. Give her a round of applause. Anybody kids older than 7? Because you don't really have that talk with the 7-year-olds. Anybody else? How old are your kids?
11.
Oh, okay, that's getting a little closer. And you guys?
12 and 10.
Okay, mine go from, my oldest is 22 and my youngest are twin 8-year-olds. So back to my mom's wedding. None of you have kids that are the right age, so that was just a completely unfunny segue, I apologize. So my brother had to sit down and have that talk with my mother. You know, Mom, you shouldn't spend a lot of alone time together, especially not once you've been engaged. The spirit goes to bed at midnight, Mom. Weird conversation to have with your mother. It was a great wedding, though. I actually composed and performed a song for my mom's wedding. Unfortunately, it didn't go quite the way that I had hoped. In fact, in hindsight, it was clearly a mistake to call it Twilight Love and not include any references to vampires or werewolves. I didn't know. I got to buy this tuxedo. That's when I got the tuxedo. And I got to walk my mother down the aisle and give her away. 5 weeks later, my stepfather gave her back. Seriously, he walked into my mom and he said, "I'm sorry, the magic is gone." I was like, after 5 weeks? It takes longer to break in a pair of shoes. And let's face it, the man is 70 years old. I'm pretty sure the magic went out of that wand a long time ago. Now everybody's thinking, wow, I thought he was going to be a clean comic. So no, Mom's getting a divorce. And I have to admit that the family, we weren't really surprised. Because this was her 6th wedding and his 7th wedding. And so we didn't really think it was going to last. But we thought, you know, at their ages, it might last long enough. So I was in a car accident recently. Minor car accident for me. I was driving our family's small car, the Chevy Suburban. And I got rear-ended by a Saturn. You know what happens to a Chevy Suburban that gets rear-ended by a Saturn? Not much. A dent in the bumper about that big. At least that's what happened to me. You know what happens to the Saturn? Well, it's kind of like David versus Goliath. Except in this case, David was a girl. And she lost. And then she had to call her dad. But I'm standing on the sidewalk, and I'm looking at this dent in my bumper. And I'm looking at this totaled Saturn, and I'm thinking, that 14 miles per gallon is looking pretty good about now. And the insurance company will just send me a check for the bumper. I know this because it's the 3rd time it's happened. If it happens again, I have to declare to the IRS as a second income. But it did get me thinking about new cars. And you guys know that the trend now is to the hybrids and the electric cars. And I also thought about a mashup. Who's the most evil character in cinema? It's got to be Darth Vader. And what's the most evil profession? So Darth Vader sells cars. Well, I'm not sure an electric motor is going to be powerful enough. The force is strong in this one. Oh, I don't know. We got a lot of kids to haul around. We got a lot of stuff. Don't underestimate the power of the Chevy Volt. I don't know. Trust your feelings. I feel like this car is overpriced and underpowered. I find your lack of faith disturbing. So he told me it was $40,000. I offered him $15,000. He said exactly what I knew he was going to say. I must consult with my master. He went out one door. We went to go out the other door. The guard tried to stop us. So I said, these aren't the cars we're looking for. These aren't the cars you're looking for. We can go about our business. You can go about your business. You guys have got kids. You must have lots of movies then. Lots of Disney movies. Boy, is that a racket, right? Like Little Mermaid 14, and the kids are like, yeah, we gotta buy it. I was looking at our movies, and I noticed that Lion King and Bambi both involve talking animals. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great if Disney did a sequel where they combined the cast? And here's how I think it would go. Simba meets Bambi. And then Elton John sings about the circle of life. And Simba eats Bambi. My friend said, no, you can't do that. That would be way too traumatic for the little kids. And I said, look, Disney gave us a male character named Bambi. I find that traumatic. The only positive thing about naming your son Bambi is if he grows up to be a drag queen, he doesn't have to change his name. My kids, like I said, my oldest is 22. The ones at home, they're getting a little older. I'm a little concerned about what they're watching. And I noticed that a lot of my Mormon friends get really excited when the popular R-rated movies, you know, like Gladiator and Braveheart, when those get edited and put on network TV. Now, my friends aren't excited so that they can watch them. They're excited that they can finally admit to having seen them. Some nervous laughs. Yeah, I saw it on cable. What I said before about my kids is true. My kids are adopted from all over the world. And if you have obviously adopted children, people think they can come up to you and ask you the most random personal questions. I was going through the grocery store line one time, and I had my son with me. He was about 6 months old at the time. And the lady behind the register, she said, so what race is he? Human? Oh, no. I mean, what nationality? American. Thank you. See, I'm not real comfortable talking about my kids with random strangers and large groups in clubs. So I've got 3 birth children, 7 black children, and 3 Asian children at my house. And people will come up to me and they will say, so which ones are adopted? Like, really? I shouldn't be surprised. That's the same neighbor. When we adopted our first black child, he came over and he said, so you gonna tell him he's adopted? He's black, he's not blind. So, I love performing here in Orem. The first time I did stand-up was right here in Orem. Unfortunately, it didn't go so well. In fact, I ended up out in the parking lot surrounded by 4 other comics standing like this. It felt like a gang initiation. And they said, you've got funnier stuff than this. Let's hear it. So I started telling them about having big families and, you know, going on vacation and stuff. And finally, Jose, he's the gang leader, he says, this is funny stuff. We're not laughing because we're comics. But some of this stuff is pretty good. I was like, yeah, thanks. I could tell from the lack of any change in your facial expression there. So, all right, that is my time. You have been a great audience. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the show. I'm sorry, am I supposed to run crying now?
Yes. That's gonna, he's gonna hit her guts first.